Greetings, YouTube. For the past couple weeks, I've held off making this video because, quite frankly, it's exhausting to talk about maintenance issues because it's a pattern, right? It's nothing new in 2020 that we have maintenance issues. It's not even anything new in 2020 that we have emergency maintenance issues in the next 24 hours after scheduled maintenance, which for some reason, I'm sure there's some coding issues and whatnot, but that always seems to be the case. But what is an issue in the game is that when you get in-game inbox messages, I love peak milestones, and I love that we get rewarded for things like completion. But at the same time, a lot of you that are playing the game now haven't been playing the game for as long as I've been playing the game. And I want you to know that when I started playing the game in Marvel Contest of Champions, right around the year 2015, which, golly, so long ago, it was almost programmed into the code of the server that when the game went down for even a minute, when you logged back in, there would be a message that, one, apologized for the inconvenience, two, thanked the player for continuing to play the game, and three, had some small kind of compensation, usually like a couple of level 1 potions and like a level 1 revive. We're talking about maybe 50 to 100 units worth of compensation. But it wasn't about what was in the compensation that I cared about, right? It was about the fact that they acknowledged that the game wasn't performing to the standards that they wanted, and they thanked me for continuing to play it, knowing that there were thousands of other things I could be doing with my time, including thousands of other mobile games I could be playing. And so that always meant a lot to me. But in the last couple of years, that has gone away, even though Kabam has been committing more to transparency and accountability. And so now it's almost like I was debating this today in my Across the Pond live stream, where you almost know that Kabam won't even acknowledge it in your in-game inbox, nevertheless have any form of compensation, if the game doesn't go down for, say, less than 30 minutes, or like if it goes down for less than an hour, then it's like it never happened. And so it's created this really annoying expectation of no accountability or transparency within the company that used to pride itself on that years ago. On top of that, you also still are screwing people over at times that do cost them valuable items. I had 2 to 3 people in that live stream today say that they were going into an Alliance Quest fight, getting ready to fight the boss or finish off their path. And yes, it was close to when Alliance Quest was finished for the day. And naturally, they got logged out and lost half their health, and at the same time took no health from the defender because the server crashed. This is not something that I am necessarily even blaming on Kabam. There are times that their server goes down where they legitimately have no idea why it went down, and it takes them some amount of time to troubleshoot it. But what I do blame them for is when they don't feel like they have to be transparent or accountable to the issues that happen in the game. And I've heard from so many people, because this is the only game that I play. The only other mobile game I've ever played is Angry Birds. Angry Birds is not a game you have to worry about the server going down. In fact, the versions that I played, the OG versions, they're all offline anyway. You know, you can play that game on the airplane when you can't even connect to Wi-Fi or don't want to pay for Wi-Fi. But at the same time, it's just so frustrating that now we have these timers in our heads that state, oh, well, the game was only down for 15 minutes. So, of course, Kabam, other than maybe a forum post, which, you know, spoiler alert to those of you who live on the forums. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Some of you really enjoy being on the forums. But most people don't live on the forums, and if it's not in their in-game inbox, in this mailbox right here, they're not going to see it. I also want to say that, speaking of the forums, what is more troubling to me in 2020 is how many people will say, Kabam, are you at least going to acknowledge the game going down on the forums? And they're automatically not only deleting the post, but silencing the user, and in some cases actually removing them of the chance to even comment because they had the audacity to bring up that the game crashed in the first place. And these aren't comments that are using profanity. They're not attacking them. They're just simply bringing up, hey, the game went down It really cost my alliance. Could you talk about this? And in this case, they're not even asking for compensation. They're just asking for what used to be the acknowledgement and the apology. And if a company acts like they're above having even a basic amount of customer service, they're going to make it where their customers are less loyal than ever. And we know with burnout issues and kind of a crisis in terms of just overall progression in the game, as the RNG issues are still by far the biggest complaint I get every day from people who are just sick of opening champions that 80% of the time or 90% of the time they are trash or mediocre and they can't rank up and they can't do anything with and they don't play the arena. But, if you worked at a hotel, for example, and your water went out for 5 minutes and you went down to the manager to issue a complaint, the manager wouldn't say, well, if your water was only on for 5 minutes, go to hell, right? They would say, I am so sorry, sir. We'll get somebody up there right away. I apologize for the inconvenience. Can we offer you a complimentary breakfast or an extra towel? Heck. But, just something. It's just basic customer service. This isn't me being greedy. It's just me talking about basic customer service. And Kabam used to have way better than basic customer service. And now it is just that timer in the back of your head where you have to ask yourself, well, the game's crashed 3 times in an hour, but it's only crashed for, 3 to 5 minutes each time. So I guess that's no big deal. The fact that we've trained ourselves to just accept that as normal in the game is a problem. And so going forward, I'm not making this to say we need compensation every time or even most of the time, but they at least need to be transparent and accountable for when the game crashes, because it just gives people even less of an incentive and loyalty to the game and makes it harder for it to be successful in the coming days and months and years. And if I could tell Kabam this directly and they would watch this video, that's what I would say to them. If you want the game to continue to grow, you've got to at least apologize in game. And if there's no compensation, so be it. But at least acknowledge it so that we know that you're sorry. Otherwise, it's just like, you know what? This is a gambling addiction. We can shut down a casino for 5 minutes. You're still going to buy our terrible offers and you're still going to open crystals. So really, we don't need to worry about customer service. You're addicted already.